Hello there, my fellow Criterion collectors. In this video I want to give you 8 recommendations of some underrated films within the Criterion Collection. And by underrated, I mean films that are underseen, underappreciated, basically films that I think deserve more love and attention. And if you've never heard of these films, then these could be ones that are worth putting on your wish list, perhaps for a Criterion 50% off sale, which may or may not be happening at the time this video is live. I think I have a good mix of titles here, so let's just get straight into the first one, which is High Sierra, directed by Raoul Walsh, starring Humphrey Bogart and Ida Lupino. This is an early film noir story where Bogart plays a man who has had a criminal past and he is trying to get away from that, and when he is on parole he ends up sliding back into criminality and ends up going along with this heist. And then the film explores the ramifications of these choices and the consequences, and it is excellent. And the reason I want to highlight this release is, first of all, the Blu-ray looks brilliant. The 4K digital restoration of the film is excellent. But not only that, in the special features on here, you actually get another feature film, which is Raoul Walsh's own remake, a Western remake of High Sierra. So if you get this release, you get 2 films for the price of 1, and they are truly amazing. So High Sierra gets my highest recommendation, and I really don't see too many people talk about this release, so I wanted to just give it a bit more attention. Next, I want to talk about Le Corbeau, the film from Henri-Georges Clouzot. This is a French film that was made during World War II, and it follows the story of this French provincial town where a mysterious person is sending poison pen letters and creating all sorts of paranoia and suspicion amongst the community. To the people who've seen this film, they know it's an excellent one, but I don't think this one gets talked about enough. Henri-Georges Clouzot has many films in the Criterion Collection, and films like The Wages of Fear and Diabolique get a lot more attention than Le Corbeau. So I really want to highlight this one. It is excellent. The suspense, the thrills, I just absolutely love this one, and this is a master filmmaker. The film looks beautiful from the 4K restoration which is on the Blu-ray, and the only thing that kind of lets this release down is there aren't too many special features. In fact, there are only 2 special features. There are some excerpts from a documentary with Henri-Georges Clouzot, and then there is an interview with French director Bertrand Tavernier, which actually segues quite nicely into my next title, because this is a film directed by Bertrand Tavernier. It is Round Midnight, starring the one and only jazz legend Dexter Gordon, in a story about this troubled jazz musician who has addiction issues, really struggles with alcoholism, and it's a painful story to watch, but I think there is so much soul here. And it very nicely portrays this romantic idea of being in a jazz club in Paris and just listening to great jazz music. So it's quite a difficult story, and Dexter Gordon really gives a fantastic performance. And I particularly love the artwork for this one, because this is in the style of the classic Blue Note jazz records from the 1960s. So I love looking at this one, and the film itself is amazing, and I don't hear too many people talk about it, so I really wanted to highlight this so that more people can enjoy this fantastic film. Next, I want to recommend The Cloud-Capped Star from Bengali filmmaker Ritwik Ghatak. Now, when you think of films from this part of the world, you think of Bollywood films or maybe the films of Satyajit Ray. But there are other great filmmakers at the time, namely people like Ghatak, making these fantastic masterpieces. The film boasts a fantastic performance from Supriya Chowdhury as this central female figure who has the weight of the world put upon her, and it just seems like everything is just being forced upon her and there isn't much light at the end of the tunnel. It is a fantastic melodrama with some brilliant cinematography, and it's one, again, that I don't hear too many people talk about. Yes, there are people who do talk very highly of it, but there aren't enough of those people. So if you love Indian cinema, if you love this kind of story, then please do give this one a look. The film looks excellent on the Blu-ray, a 2K restoration which was undertaken by Martin Scorsese's World Cinema Project. So I highly recommend The Cloud-Capped Star. Going all the way back to the 1930s, we have The Story of Temple Drake, starring the one and only Miriam Hopkins. This is from 1933, so this is pre-code, before censorship made its way into Hollywood. And there were a lot of stories that were much darker that were told in this period than just a few years later, because this is a film dealing with sexual violence against a woman. And not only is it dark in substance, but the film itself looks very dark because it is shot by the legendary cinematographer Karl Struss, who worked in the vein of German Expressionism and made so many brilliant looking films, this being one of them. I really don't hear many people talk about this film, so please do give this one a shot. The film is only 70 minutes long as well, so it is a swift viewing if you don't have time for a much longer film. So I highly recommend The Story of Temple Drake. Then we have The Ballad of Gregorio Cortez from director Robert M. Young. This is a man on the run kind of story. Someone ends up killing someone and he is then being chased, being hunted by the Texas Rangers. The man in question is played by Edward James Olmos, giving a brilliant central performance in a film that is really very beautiful to look at as well. It's a great chase film. It is a revisionist western of sorts, and the 2K digital restoration on the Blu-ray looks fantastic. So I want more people to check this film out because I think it is a hidden gem. Next we have the film Tunes of Glory, directed by Ronald Neame, starring two of the great giants of English cinema. We have Alec Guinness and John Mills going head to head in a battle of leadership and personality. The story is set in this Scottish army barracks, which is housed within this great castle. It's a brilliant location and set, and these two men who have very different styles of leadership are vying for the hearts and for the trust of these young men who are following them. It's a very moving film, and it really is worth it just to watch these two central performances because they really are two of the greatest. I'm not just being hyperbolic there, they are amazing. The film looks beautiful on the 4K digital restoration on the Blu-ray, and in the special features you have some interviews with Ronald Neame and Alec Guinness and John Mills. So a fantastic release which I really want more people to check out. Then we come to the fantastic documentary Original Cast Album Company. This is from acclaimed documentary director D.A. Pennebaker, who made so many great documentaries, many of them within the Criterion Collection. And this one looks at the recording of the studio album for the soundtrack of Company, the very famous musical. And that may sound very simple, not too interesting, but really you get such an inside look at these great characters, these great people, and the struggles that they have, the performance anxiety, and the feeling that they aren't good enough to do this. So it really does get right in there, and the film has such a fantastic ending. It is also a very swift viewing at only 50 minutes long, but you might think you're not getting too much for your money there, but there are so many fantastic special features going into the film and the musical, and you even get the episode of Documentary Now that parodies this documentary. So I love this release, and I really do want more people to check this out. So those are some of my recommendations for films that I think deserve more love within the Criterion Collection. If you happen to be watching this during a 50% off sale, this is the best time to check out some films that ordinarily you might not want to risk getting at full price. If you have any film recommendations for me, please feel free to leave them in the comments below, because although I've seen many films in the Criterion Collection, I'm still quite far off having seen everything, so I'm always looking for new films to watch next. Click the video that's on screen right now if you want some more film recommendations from me, and until next time, thank you very much for watching, and I will see you soon.